Welcome to your Saturday news. Residents were taken back to the height of the fur trade this weekend as Fort William Historical Park hosted its annual Great Rendezvous celebration. The historic event featured over 100 reenactors, a number of artisan workshops and demonstrations, and the much-anticipated Grand Canoe arrival. Jessica Clement has the story.
Visitors flocked to Fort William Historical Park over the weekend to take part in the annual Great Rendezvous celebration. Among the various activities, workshops, and demonstrations going on, Saturday's festivities also featured the Grand Canoe arrival.
I would like everyone to give a big welcome to Mr. McGilvery.
The three-day event saw around 150 volunteer reenactors from across North America, helping recreate the annual summer gathering held at Fort William over 200 years ago when it was the inland headquarters of the Northwest Company.
This is such an incredible reenactment of the fur trade at its height, the Northwest Company, the buildings, and the passionate staff who really bring it to life. So I really am grateful to contribute my knowledge of the history and of the music and kind of talk about the importance of that during the fur trade.
Reenactor Daniel Laxer came up from Toronto for the event. He says reenactments like the Great Rendezvous are important to help better understand the area's history.
This is such an expression of unity. This is when in history people from all types of backgrounds got together, English, Scottish, French, Métis, First Nations, and they traded and they exchanged ideas and goods and also music, turns out. And so I think it's really important to keep the memory alive for the sake of really doing history justice, but also remembering some of the more positive aspects of our shared history.
The fort saw hundreds come out for this year's rendezvous, and General Manager Patrick Morash says it's always great to see so much support from area residents and those from out of town.
During a time like this of rendezvous where we have volunteer reenactors coming to us, we have reenactors coming from Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Manitoba, of course throughout Ontario as well. They interact with our staff, they interact with our visitors, so the visitors get a far more enthusiastic greeting when they're at the place as well. So it's really very encouraging.
The Great Rendezvous festivities continue Sunday with the Great Departure at 3:30 p.m. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Over to Chippewa Park, where some local kids were joined by Royal Canadian Mounted Police officers today while taking a ride on the carousel. The officers gave the ride a stamp of approval, coming after significant restoration work on the carousel.
Prior to a show in Murillo, members of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police musical ride made sure to stop by a summertime family favorite. Joined by a number of local kids and their parents, the RCMP officers checked out the newly restored carousel at Chippewa Park.
The majority of what our job is public relations, so any chance that we get to engage with the community.
RCMP Constable Chris Russell says connecting with communities is a significant part of their duties and what makes the job so special.
It's a joy. It's one of the things you don't necessarily get to do with other parts of policing, so when you get to do it with the musical ride, it certainly is a joy. It was a fantastic experience and it's historical, so it's something that's personally I love, and it was an honor for all of us that got chosen to do it.
The officers praised the significant restoration work, which was very much a community effort. It included plenty of help from the Thunder Bay Carvers, who volunteered their time to work on a number of pieces on the carousel.
We appreciate their involvement, their encouragement, their sponsorship.
Carousel Restoration Committee co-chair Donna Gilhooly thanks everyone who helped restore the ride and the RCMP officers for giving it their seal of approval.
Good sports that they are, they've actually gotten on the carousel and ridden it with the kids and their families, so it's a very generous thing that they've done. Kids love it, parents and grandparents remember it, so they want that same experience for their kids, don't they?
Donations are still being accepted for the carousel's restoration, and anyone looking to help out can do so on the Save Our Carousel website.
Most small towns like Atikokan can't rely on big name box stores to set up shop. Instead, they need small, locally owned businesses to keep their economies afloat. The town of Atikokan is seeing a small boom of local entrepreneurs who are either opening or revitalizing local businesses. This means new developments downtown and the rejuvenation of long-standing buildings. That's coupled with the town's effort to improve road infrastructure. Mayor Rob Ferguson says there's a lot of enthusiasm for the new local business owners.
People see the downtown area that is declining, and they don't really have the confidence to put the money into their homes. So once they see some new things happening in town, they get some enthusiasm, and they want to, do in the streets, downtown, come and being revitalized a little bit, and it gives them some enthusiasm to do things too. So it's a real trickle-down effect on it for sure.
Ferguson believes these new opportunities in and around Atikokan point to a bright financial outlook for the community. Housing sales increased across the country last month. That's according to a new report from the Canadian Real Estate Association. But despite that, the association has cut its housing market forecast for 2024. CTV's Jeremy Charron has more.
A stubborn spring in real estate has spurred a scaling back of expectations for Canada's housing market this year.
Lots of listings showed up, but the buyers stayed in hibernation mode. And so when you've got sort of a dud of a spring market, you've got to scale back your numbers.
A new report from the Canadian Real Estate Association projects more than 470,000 properties will trade hands this year, a 6.1% increase from 2023, but down from April's forecasted gain of 10.5%.
The challenge with sellers right now is that there's climbing inventory, which puts pressure on them, right? There's more choice for buyers. Again, there's that option for a seller that maybe they have to reduce their price in order to initiate a sale.
You're praying anyone that walks through that door could be a potential offer.
Cindy Hill is feeling the effects of a slower than projected market. Her property has been listed for a year. She's had to drop the price several times, even prepared to take a loss to get her Kemptville, Ontario home sold.
It hasn't been easy. There's been days where it's like, okay, maybe we should just take the house off the market and wait. Let's just see maybe where life is going, interest rates are going.
Those rates are the key factor, experts say. Fewer projected cuts by the Bank of Canada this year played a role in dampening market forecasts, and the rate at which the cuts keep coming will play a major role too.
It's a matter of timing, right? Do they do it all by next summer, or does it take till 2027? That's what's going to pace the recovery in the housing market.
And that's what buyers are watching and waiting for too.
At one point, that pendulum will swing, no different than it swung, obviously, in the pandemic. We just will see it gradually recover. And I think that that's what the Bank of Canada is trying to, truly, in a way, control, right, is to make sure that there's no aggressive buying.
Now, the Bank of Canada's next rate announcement is set for July 24th, and it's expected any further potential cuts could help slowly bring potential buyers back into the market. Jeremy Charron, CTV News, Ottawa.
We'll bring it back to Thunder Bay, where Ontario Northlands held an event today at the Superstore parking lot in support of the Thunder Bay Food Bank. Stuff the Bus saw residents able to donate non-perishables directly to the food bank out front of the store. Donations were then loaded into the bus and later taken to the food bank. The event was also held 2 years ago when 1,400 pounds of food was donated. Organizers are hoping to exceed that total this time around. Food Bank board member Don Bubar says events like these are becoming increasingly important as the need for their services continues to grow.
We are now serving upwards of 125 households every 2 weeks. That includes about 250 adults, 125 children. We're seeing an increase in demand by seniors, which is something we haven't seen before, and obviously with people on fixed income as well.
People have been extraordinarily generous. It is really inspiring to be a part of, to be perfectly honest. Anything from small donations to cash donations, people have really been supportive, so it's been a really fun event to be a part of.
The Thunder Bay Food Bank is always looking for more support, with more information on their website. The 21st Annual Salmon Derby is underway in the city. It's a chance for anyone who fishes in Lake Superior to weigh their fish and potentially hook some cash prizes. The Salmon Derby began Friday morning and runs until tomorrow afternoon. To enter in the Derby, you just need to buy a ticket, and you won't be able to weigh your fish without it. The catchers of the 10 heaviest fish will all win cash prizes, with first place taking home $10,000. After the winners are announced, everyone else who purchased a ticket will be entered into a separate ballot of additional cash prizes. The official weighmaster, Art DeCourt, explains some technicalities.
Rules are fish has to be whole, and the fish has to be no gill marks, or marks on the gills, no gaff hook marks, nothing, no damage to the fish whatsoever. They sold about 220 tickets, and last year was about the same amount. It's pretty good.
You can have your fish weighed at the Prince Arthur Marina near the boat launch on Saturday from 5 to 9 p.m., as well as Sunday from 11 to 2 when the Derby concludes. The award presentation will be at the Superior Inn Hotel and Conference Center Sunday afternoon at 5. The Lakehead Aero Modelers Club is hoping to attract more people to the model airplane hobby. To give the public a demonstration of what they do, the club will be hosting their annual Airfest event later this month. Club members will be able to showcase their planes, helicopters, and drones for all to see. And visitors will also have the chance to get behind a controller and fly a model airplane with one of the club's trainer planes. The event will take place on July 27th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at their flying site on Highway 130 near McCluskey's Corner. Club Vice President Andrew Condor says he hopes the event inspires others to join the club.
It's a great way to be outside and relax and appreciate aviation and be able to fly all those different kinds of airplanes that interest you, whether it's jet flying or helicopter flying. It just gives you a chance to really come out and be inspired by all those great aviation.
More information about the Lakehead Aero Modelers Club and how to get involved can be found on their website. We're now joined by sports anchor Josh Morano. Josh, one team that's been flying high has been the Thunder Bay Chill.
Yeah, they wrapped up their season last night against Minneapolis City FC. And, flying high, that tends to happen when you win the Deep North Division. Yeah. Could they go out on a high with a win last night? We'll have the highlights when we come back.